I pretended to support my daughter's wedding while secretly proving her fiancé was after our money. The engagement photos looked perfect on social media, but something felt terribly wrong when I watched him calculating our net worth during family dinner. My daughter had been dating him for 8 months when he proposed with a ring that cost more than most people's cars. She was glowing, absolutely radiant, talking about their future together while he kept asking oddly specific questions about our family investments and property holdings. The diamond was stunning, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he had chosen it more for its price tag than for what it meant to her. I started paying closer attention during their visits, documenting every strange interaction in my phone notes. He would compliment our renovated kitchen while asking about square footage and neighborhood property values with the precision of a real estate appraiser. When my husband mentioned our vacation home in the mountains, his eyes lit up like Christmas morning, and he immediately started asking about rental income potential and seasonal occupancy rates. He started bringing up wedding venues that cost more than some people's annual salaries, always with this casual suggestion that we might want to contribute since we were doing so well financially. My daughter was completely smitten, posting endless photos of them together and gushing about their relationship to anyone who would listen. She talked about how mature and ambitious he was, how he understood the importance of financial security for their future children. She didn't see what I saw the way he photographed our artwork when he thought nobody was looking, taking multiple angles like he was cataloging pieces for an auction house. Every instinct I had as a mother was screaming that something was wrong, but she interpreted my concerns as wedding stress and empty nest syndrome. The red flags kept multiplying during family gatherings, each one more obvious than the last. He would steer conversations toward our business ventures and retirement plans with surgical precision, always framing his questions as innocent curiosity about family planning. During one particularly uncomfortable dinner, he asked my husband about our life insurance policies while we were discussing plans for expanding our small business. He claimed he was just thinking about their own future financial security, but the timing felt calculated and rehearsed. I decided to test my theory by casually mentioning some financial difficulties we were supposedly having with market volatility. The change in his behavior was immediate and dramatic, like watching someone's mask slip off completely. He became distant, started finding excuses to avoid family gatherings, and began pressuring my daughter to have a smaller, more modest wedding. She was heartbroken and confused, unable to understand why her devoted fiancé was suddenly pulling away from everything they had planned together. That's when I realized I needed to gather concrete evidence before confronting anyone about my suspicions. I started documenting his behavior patterns systematically, taking screenshots of his social media activity and keeping detailed notes about his conversations and questions in a locked folder on my laptop. I felt terrible for deceiving my daughter, but I knew she wouldn't believe me without proof of his true intentions. The guilt was eating me alive, but I couldn't let her walk into what I was increasingly certain was a trap. My sister became my unexpected ally when she witnessed his behavior firsthand during a family barbecue in our backyard. She watched him take photos of our pool area and overheard him asking my husband about our insurance policies and investment portfolio, while pretending to be interested in our landscaping choices. She agreed to help me investigate further, using her connections in the financial industry to look into his background and verify the stories he had told us about his career and family wealth. What we discovered was far worse than I had imagined, painting a picture of systematic deception spanning multiple relationships. His previous relationship had ended badly when another wealthy family discovered he was using their daughter for financial gain, leaving her emotionally devastated and financially compromised. He had a pattern of targeting women from affluent families, gathering information about their assets, and then disappearing once he had what he needed or moving on to more profitable opportunities. My sister found court documents showing he had been sued by his ex-girlfriend's family for attempting to fraudulently access their accounts. The lawsuit revealed he had convinced the young woman to give him access to her trust fund, claiming it was for joint investments in their future together. Instead, he had systematically drained the account and used the money to fund his lavish lifestyle while courting his next target. The wedding planning became my cover for gathering more evidence, giving me legitimate reasons to be involved in their financial discussions. I attended meetings with vendors, listened to his suggestions, and documented every instance where he tried to inflate costs or redirect payments through accounts he controlled. He was systematically positioning himself to have access to our money while appearing to be the devoted future son-in-law who was simply trying to give our daughter the wedding of her dreams. He had convinced my daughter that he was contributing equally to wedding expenses, but I discovered he was actually using credit cards and loans while expecting us to cover the real costs. The vendors he recommended all had connections to shell companies that he had some involvement with, creating a web of financial benefit that would flow back to him. Every decision he made was calculated to maximize his financial gain while minimizing his actual investment. My daughter started noticing changes in his behavior too, especially when I mentioned that we were considering downsizing our home due to market conditions. He became increasingly agitated and began pressuring her to ask us directly about our financial situation, claiming he needed to know for their joint financial planning. She confided in me that he had been asking her to find out about our will and estate planning, which he claimed was just normal curiosity about family financial security. I knew I had to act before the wedding, but I also knew my daughter would never forgive me if I destroyed her relationship without absolute proof. I started working with a private investigator who specialized in financial fraud cases, someone my sister had recommended through her professional network. We set up a controlled situation where he would be tempted to reveal his true intentions, using a fake business opportunity as bait to see how far he would go. The private investigator posed as a potential business partner, reaching out to him through professional networking sites with an opportunity that seemed too good to pass up. We wanted to see if he would try to involve our family's money in questionable ventures, and whether he would reveal information about our financial situation that he shouldn't have known. The breakthrough came when my husband and I staged a conversation about a potential windfall from selling some property. We made sure he could overhear us discussing the exact amount and timeline, while he was supposedly helping my daughter with wedding planning in the next room. Within hours, he was asking my daughter detailed questions about our plans for the money and suggesting ways they could help us invest it more effectively through contacts he claimed to have in the financial sector. He took the bait completely, providing us with names and account numbers for investment opportunities that the private investigator later confirmed were elaborate scams. He wasn't just after our existing money. He was planning to help us lose it all through fraudulent schemes where he would profit from our losses. The web of deception was far more complex and dangerous than I had initially realized, involving multiple fake companies and fabricated investment opportunities. My daughter's best friend became an unexpected source of additional evidence when she revealed that he had been asking her inappropriate questions about our family finances. She had been uncomfortable, but didn't know how to tell my daughter without seeming jealous or judgmental of her relationship. She provided text messages where he had tried to get her to ask my daughter for specific information about our bank accounts and investment details. The messages revealed a pattern of manipulation where he was trying to use my daughter's closest friends as sources of information. He had been systematically building a network of people who could provide him with details about our financial situation, always framing his questions as concern for my daughter's future security. The level of calculation and premeditation was chilling. Meanwhile, I was struggling with the emotional toll of investigating my daughter's fiancé while pretending to support their relationship. Every family dinner became a performance where I had to smile and discuss wedding plans while knowing what I was discovering about his true intentions. The stress was affecting my sleep and my relationship with my husband, who was initially skeptical of my concerns but became increasingly worried as the evidence mounted. My daughter was planning her dream wedding, completely unaware that her fiancé was planning to use their marriage as a gateway to destroying our family's financial security. She had chosen her dress, sent invitations, and was glowing with happiness about starting her new life. The contrast between her joy and the reality of what I was uncovering made every day feel like a nightmare. The The final piece of evidence came when he made the mistake of trying to rush the wedding timeline, claiming it was because he loved my daughter so much that he couldn't wait to start their life together. But the private investigator discovered he was facing legal action in another state and needed to establish residency here quickly. He was using our daughter and our family as a shield against his mounting legal troubles. The legal issues were more serious than we had initially discovered, involving multiple fraud charges and outstanding warrants. He had been systematically moving from state to state, using relationships with wealthy women to establish new identities and avoid prosecution. Our daughter was just the latest in a long line of victims he had targeted for their family's financial resources. I arranged for the private investigator to be present during what I told my daughter would be a pre-wedding family meeting. We laid out all the evidence methodically, the court documents, the financial scam details, the pattern of targeting wealthy families, and the recordings of his conversations where he discussed his real intentions. My daughter was devastated, but couldn't argue with the mountain of proof we had accumulated. The confrontation was brutal but necessary, destroying my daughter's dreams while potentially saving her life. He tried to deny everything at first, then attempted to turn my daughter against me by claiming I was jealous and controlling, that I couldn't bear to see her happy and independent. When faced with the legal documents and recorded evidence, he finally broke down and admitted that marrying into our family had been a calculated financial decision from the beginning. He revealed that he had never loved my daughter. She was just his ticket to the comfortable life he felt he deserved. He had researched our family extensively before even approaching her, knowing exactly how much we were worth and what he could potentially gain from a relationship with her. The level of premeditation and cold calculation was horrifying to witness. The wedding was canceled 2 weeks before the ceremony, but the legal consequences were just beginning. The private investigator had uncovered enough evidence to support criminal charges for fraud and identity theft across multiple states. My daughter decided to cooperate fully with the investigation, despite her heartbreak, because she realized other families needed to be protected from his schemes. The investigation revealed that he had been running similar scams for over 5 years, targeting dozens of families and stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our daughter's willingness to testify became crucial in building a case that would put him away for a significant period of time. She was incredibly brave in facing the man who had manipulated her so thoroughly. 6 months later, she thanked me for saving her from what would have been a devastating marriage and potentially dangerous situation. She's slowly rebuilding her confidence and learning to trust her own instincts again, attending support groups for victims of financial fraud. The experience taught both of us valuable lessons about the importance of protecting family and the lengths people will go to for money. The trial lasted several months, during which we learned the full extent of his criminal network and the sophisticated methods he used to target families. My daughter's testimony was powerful and helped secure a conviction that would protect other potential victims. She found strength in knowing that her painful experience would prevent others from going through the same ordeal. Sometimes being a mother means making the hard choices that hurt in the short term, but protect the people you love in the long run. The investigation nearly destroyed our relationship temporarily, but ultimately it brought us closer together and taught us both about the importance of trusting our instincts and protecting our family's security.